Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a very good morning. The time right now is 6:13 a.m. and this is February the 25th of 2026. It's Wednesday, February the 25th, and I'm starting this live stream this morning to talk about President Donald J. Trump's first State of the Union speech of his second term. So I mentioned this before that last year President Trump delivered a speech almost exactly like a State of the Union address, delivered um, in Washington, D.C., in front of members of Congress, in front of Supreme Court justices and military leaders and guests. But because it was right after President Trump's, a short time after President Trump's swearing in ceremony for his new term. So that speech was not technically the State of the Union speech. That speech was the joint address to Congress. Now, after a year has passed, now that he is more than 1 year into his new term, this speech that he delivered this week, it was the State of the Union address. My friends, yesterday evening, our country watched that speech. Our country listened to what President Trump had to say during his State of the Union address. And there was a lot of anticipation building up. There was a lot of excitement building up, leading to that moment when President Trump started delivering his State of the Union address. And, for someone like me who has been involved in politics for many years, for someone like me who has not only been deeply involved in politics, but has eagerly been sharing thoughts about political matters, social issues through video like this live stream, and through writing, through my blog, through my letters to editors and op-eds. I mean, I do a lot of writing, you know that. For someone like me, yesterday evening was extremely special because in 2016, I voted for Donald Trump and he was elected. I followed all the developments of his first term in office. Then I was eager to see Donald Trump re-elected in 2020. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the discussion of the 2020 election. I think a lot of you know where I stand on that issue. I'll just say briefly, when people ask me about the 2020 election, I say Trump's my president. Okay, I think that answer explains it all. My thoughts about that election. Anyway, for 4 years, President Trump was not in the White House. For 4 years, we had to suffer because of Joe Biden and his policies. What was supposed to be like a series of 8 years of Trump in office. He was supposed to be in office 4 years, and then right after that, a set of 4 more years, back to back. Did not happen. There was a break, there was a gap. But fortunately, Trump's back again. Fortunately, he's back again, and he's back stronger than ever before. And he's back with overwhelming support from the American people, which is why he not only got the Electoral College vote victory this time, but also the popular vote victory. And so yesterday, in the hours leading up to that moment when that speech started, I was waiting eagerly, and not only myself, but millions and millions and millions of Americans all over the country. In fact, people all over the world. I mean, think about it. Our allies, our international allies, as well as our adversaries, they were all watching. Our allies and adversaries, they were all watching. Our friends, we got a lot of friends around the world, countries that we consider to be our strong allies, they were watching. Foreign leaders were watching because they wanted to hear what Donald Trump had to say. Because that was a critical juncture in the flow of time in American history. What will Donald Trump say during his first State of the Union address of his second term? So the world was watching, and our adversaries were watching too. And what did people see? People saw strength. People saw determination. People saw real leadership. You want to define leadership, you point to the Trump White House. You point to the Oval Office. That's real leadership. That's strength, determination, courage, honor. My friends, President Trump said very clearly that our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before. And I think we can all agree with that. Our nation is back after 4 years of suffering with Joe Biden in office, after 4 years of economic devastation, after 4 years of losses and confusion and crisis with Joe Biden in the White House. Our nation is now back under Trump. Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before. President Trump pointed out the 250th anniversary of the United States of America that is coming up later this year. This is truly special, my friends. Think about it. You are here. I'm here. We are here, living in the United States, and we have the great honor of living at a time when we get to witness the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. President Trump announced that this is the golden age of America. The golden age. Lawrence, do you agree with me? Is it the golden age or not? Terry Gilly is over here. Terry, thank you so very much always for your compliments, Terry. Terry, do you agree that this is the golden age of America? Let me know. And others, this is the golden age of the United States of America, a country that is soon going to be celebrating the 250th anniversary. And you know what? Things are going to get better. Things are going to get better. President Trump, he promised that things will get better. President Trump pointed out quite clearly how he inherited An absolute mess. The mess that Joe Biden left behind, a devastated economy. By the way, did you see, during the speech, did you see Al Green get up and leave? Did you see that? I mean, was it shocking? Probably not. I mean, if you know Al Green, if you know anything about Al Green, if you've been paying attention to Al Green's politics, then it's probably not very shocking. I mean, the guy is on the far left. So while a great leader, Donald Trump, is delivering a speech of hope, delivering a speech of Lawrence. Terry, thank you for being here. So while Donald Trump is delivering a speech of enthusiasm about the future, a speech of determination, a speech of strength, a speech that tells us that yes, we will make America great again, greater than ever before. While President Trump is delivering such a speech, Al Green decides to get up and leave. I mean, really. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with these far left politicians. Lawrence is saying Trump 2028. That's awesome. That's awesome, Lawrence. Thank you. Anyway, I'm not shocked. If you know, as I said, if you know anything about Al Green's politics and things he does, probably not shocking to see him get up and leave. But that did not stop Donald Trump from delivering one of the greatest speeches that he has delivered. Donald Trump said, "Our spirit is restored." Our commander-in-chief pointed out that the economy is roaring. And President Trump said that our country is respected again. Look at the world. Look at all our allies. Look at how other countries treat us now. They treat us with respect, great respect. And all you have to do is look at the Board of Peace meeting, the inaugural meeting of the Board of Peace, and you will know how much other countries treat us with respect. The Board of Peace. And I've said this before, if you have not watched the inaugural meeting of the Board of Peace, you need to do it from start to finish. Don't skip. I know it's more than 2 hours long, but don't skip. Like, all right, I'm going to watch certain parts. I'm going to watch certain segments of that program. No, you need to watch from start to finish. From start to finish. My friends, President Trump pointed out that we have the strongest border, and yes, I agree. We absolutely do. We have the strongest border. 0 illegal aliens have entered the US in the last 9 months. And President Trump highlighted that yes, we will allow legal immigrants to enter the US. Legal immigrants, that's the right way to do it. Foreign nationals, if they want to come to the US, they have to do it legally. Respect American laws, follow American laws, and enter the United States through the legal process. And my friends, let me tell you one thing. I don't know how many of you follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, but I was posting on X Like it was like a marathon. I don't think I have posted so many posts on X on a single day in a span of 2 hours. And as soon as President Trump talked about legal immigration, I posted on X. I wrote, yes, we support legal immigration and we oppose illegal immigration. MAGA hashtag SOTU 2026, meaning State of the Union 2026. And I posted that right away. And I just kept posting one after another, one after another. The next post was, yes, inflation is down. Thank you, President Trump. And the next one was, we want low interest rates, make America great again. And I'm putting hashtag SOTU 2026, State of the Union 2026. And I wrote, yes, we are the hottest country in the world, as President Trump said. And I wrote, America's energy policy, drill, baby, drill. We need fossil fuels. Thank you, President Trump. So I just kept posting and posting and posting. And if you have not connected with me on X, please do so. You can just go on X and type my name, Tausif Anam. That's all you have to do, and you can find my my profile there. So anyway, President Trump highlighted 0 illegal aliens have entered the U.S. in the last 9 months. He highlighted that, yes, we will allow legal immigrants to come into the U.S. And then President Trump also highlighted the fact that we now have 125-year low in U.S. murder rate. So talk about public safety. This is the public safety president. President Trump is making America safe again. And safety means safety in every way. Internationally, if there are threats, then we need to make sure that we as a country were safe. And President Trump is helping ensure our safety. But we also have to ensure safety within our country to make sure that if you are going out, if you're leaving your house, you're driving on the road, you're going to the mall, you're going to the store, you're out and about going to work, you have to make sure that there's safety in your neighborhood, in your community, in your city, in your state. And that means we have to ensure that we continue to combat crimes. And so 125-year low in US murder rates. And let's talk about energy policy. Gas price falling. The commander-in-chief pointed out that gas prices have fallen below $2.30 in $2.30 in many states. That's the fact that President Trump shared, and I can tell you right here in my home state of Wisconsin, we saw during the Biden administration how gas price reached $5 a gallon. $5 a gallon. Gas price reached $5 a gallon during Biden administration. And now gas price is hovering around, I'd say 2.5, in certain cities a little less, but 2.5, which is pretty good. It seemed like, during Biden, it seemed like we'll have to pay $3.50. And we just continue paying $3.50 and $3.30. If you're lucky, then just $3. But gas price was so high, as I said, reached $5 a gallon. And I just remember, that day when it happened, when the news broke that gas prices reached $5 a gallon, it was, the economic pain and suffering that we went through during the Biden administration. It was a complete nightmare, and I'm glad that the nightmare is over. I'm glad that Joe Biden and his administration is no longer in power. I'm so glad. 4 years of absolute economic misery, 4 years of complete suffering that we went through. And I know I'm not the only one. Millions and millions and millions of Americans went through that suffering. 4 years of completely reckless economic policies under Joe Biden. And finally, things are becoming affordable. Gas price has fallen below $2.30 in many states. And in Wisconsin, we're right around there, $2.30, $2.40. We're right in that ballpark. And President Trump talked about interest rates. My friends, what do we need right now? What do we need? What do we want? We want low interest rates. And I'm eagerly waiting to see new leadership at the Federal Reserve. And President Trump pointed out that $18 trillion in global investments into the US in 1 year. In 1 year, the US enjoyed $18 trillion in global investments. That's a fact that no one can deny. $18 trillion, my friends. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I know that the freedom-loving Americans watching this are happy because President Trump secured commitments. He secured strong commitments. He secured commitments from other countries that there'll be $18 trillion in investments, global investments from all over. President Trump said, we are the hottest country in the world, and I actually posted that right away. I posted that. Let me see. I posted. I'm just scrolling through. I posted so many things yesterday. I wrote, yes, we are the hottest country in the world, as President Trump said. Hashtag SOTU 2026, State of the Union 2026. Our energy policy is drill, baby, drill. Very simple. We have natural resources that we must use. Drill, baby, drill. President Trump pointed out 100% of all jobs created in the private sector. That's a success. Rather than growing the size of the government, he's growing the private sector. Job creation in the private sector. People getting hired, people getting benefits, growth and expansion and success in the private sector. Companies doing well. Companies having the confidence to expand and to hire more people and to compete and to improve the quality of their products and services. That's what we want. And so President Trump said, the state of our union is strong. You know what? Even the Democrats know this, but they will not admit. If you are talking to the Democrats and you say, hey, the state of the union is strong. Now, right away, I don't know what kind of a reaction you will get from the Democrats. They may reject your statement, but deep down, deep in their heart, they also know the truth that the state of our union is strong. They know this in their heart, in their mind. They know this, but they may not admit. They may, like when they utter the words, they may reject that statement, but deep down, even the Democrats know that the state of our union is strong, but they will not admit that. Anyway, let's talk about hockey. What a great success it was in the Winter Olympics. President Trump honored the men's hockey team. He also said that the women's team will soon visit the White House. And I think it was great to highlight sports during President Trump's speech, because that is something that we need more of. We want the younger generation to develop an interest in sports, a lasting interest. We want the younger generation to be involved in sports, to participate in sports, because we want people to have a healthy lifestyle. We want the younger generation to move away from these devices, right? Smartphones and tablets. I mean, those are things we all need. I mean, right now I'm using a smartphone to do this live stream. So I'm not saying we're going to completely abandon the use of smartphones and, tablets and computers and all that. No, we need all that. But you know what? There has to be a limit. The younger generation should not be spending time on smartphones in front of a screen all the time. It's not good for physical health, mental health. What is good for physical health and mental health is participating in sports. Okay? Whether you like basketball, baseball, football, whatever, soccer. Football, soccer, interchangeable. What we call soccer, the rest of the world calls football. What we call football is a different sport. But anyway, let's not get tangled up in what terms to use right now. That's not important. What's important is we want people, especially the younger generation, to be healthy, and for that they need sports. Whether you're playing hockey, basketball, baseball, football, soccer, something else, tennis. It was great that President Trump honored the men's hockey team. The men's hockey team is likely going to inspire the younger generation to be involved in sports. And so I'm glad that he highlighted sports during his speech. And he also talked about the FIFA World Cup that's going to be taking place this year. We're just months away from the FIFA World Cup. And also the Olympics that are coming. The Olympics in the US. Not this year, but soon. President Trump delivered the largest tax cuts in American history. And it was possible. It was possible because there's strong majority in the House and the Senate. Republican majority. Now, yes, the House majority is quite slim. That's a challenge. That's the challenge that we have to deal with. But overall, because the Republicans are in the majority and have been in the majority for many months now, because of the Republican majority in the House and in the Senate, and because of a Republican president in the White House, America saw the largest tax cuts in history. And we can go into the details. We can talk about no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. We can talk about the one big beautiful bill. We can go through all the details, but you all understand that if you get to keep more of your hard-earned money, that's a good thing. If you are making money and the government's taking away a large chunk of that, that's not good. That's not good. And people lose the motivation. People lose the incentive to work. If you're making whatever X number of dollars, $100, $1,000, $10,000, whatever. I mean, you come up with that number. Whatever money you're making, if the government comes and takes a huge chunk of that away, and you're wondering, oh my God, what just happened? I earned all this money. I need it. but the government just took a big bite out of it. That's the disincentive. People lose the interest to work. People lose the drive. And so if we see policies that allow people to keep more of their hard-earned money, that is a good thing. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. These are good policies. So thanks to President Trump and thanks to the congressional Republicans, the Republicans in the House and in the Senate, and President Trump and the great Republicans in Washington are helping the American people, hardworking American people. Also, the Trump accounts. The Trump accounts are a great idea. It's something that everyone can support, the Trump account. So we finally have a president who puts America first. My friends, if you're watching this, I thank you. Make sure that you're subscribing. Make sure that you're staying connected. Why do I ask you to subscribe? Why? Because we want to grow the size of this community, this freedom-loving community. We want more people to stay connected so that the next time I'm doing a live stream, you all can join me, like you're joining me right now. So please make sure that you're subscribing to stay connected. Okay. What Donald Trump did during his speech, he pointed out the hypocrisy of some of the Democrat politicians. The Democrats caused inflation. The Democrats, by recklessly spending our taxpayer dollars during the Biden administration, the Democrats caused inflation. When we saw grocery prices go up, it was the Democrats' fault. When we saw supply chain crisis and the price of things, everyday things going up, the Democrats caused that to happen. Gas price going up, the Democrats caused that to happen. And now the very same Democrats are talking about affordability issues. Oh, affordability, affordability, affordability. This is a word that the Democrats just keep using. Oh, affordability crisis, affordability. In reality, let me tell you, in reality, prices are coming down. In reality, gas price has come down significantly. You can actually now afford gas, okay? Like during Biden, you couldn't afford gas. Now you can actually afford to drive. And thanks to President Trump for making things affordable. But the same Democrats who caused inflation, they're the ones now talking about affordability. I mean, they're trying to paint this picture of a crisis that doesn't exist. Yes, Donald Trump inherited a complete mess after Joe Biden left the White House. Yes, it takes time to make things stable. It takes time to fix, repair the damage done by the Biden administration. It takes time. It's not a switch that you flip and then things change. Things go from horrible to excellent. No, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. But things are heading in the right direction. Prices are coming down. Gas is cheap and is likely to become even cheaper going forward. And President Trump talked about the cost of chicken, butter, fruit, beef, eggs, and more. He pointed out clearly that prices are coming down. And you don't have to trust Donald Trump. You can go to the grocery store and you can verify all that yourself. Just compare the prices now with the prices that you paid under Joe Biden, and you will see that there is a significant difference. Prices are coming down. I see that. I see that when I'm grocery shopping. I see that when I'm at the gas station. So this affordability, oh, affordability, what a crisis, what a crisis. It doesn't exist. Things are getting better. And I am grateful. I am grateful that President Trump talked about Obamacare. And he pointed out the fact that it is actually an Affordable Care Act. I mean, simply attaching the label of affordable, Affordable Care Act, doesn't make it affordable. You can have the worst possible policy and attach a label of excellent. Okay, doesn't make it excellent, doesn't make it good, doesn't make it fair or average. If you've got bad policies. So Obamacare, it's called the Affordable Care Act, but it's truly unaffordable. And I've been saying that for a long time because I remember, my friends, I remember when Obama first got elected, 2008. I saw Obama come to office in 2009. I remember 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. I have seen the evolution of ACA, the Affordable Care Act, which in reality is the Unaffordable Care Act. I've seen that. I've seen Obamacare be implemented. And as someone who studied healthcare policy, I paid close attention to this Affordable Care Act, or Unaffordable Care Act, as I have said already multiple times. And President Trump pointed that out, that it's not affordable, it's unaffordable. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done to solve the problems that we have in healthcare policy making, healthcare policy. We need better policies. We need common sense policies, sensible policies, policies that will improve the lives of people, not make things more difficult. President Trump talked about Trump RX and his efforts to lower the prices of drugs. Important life-saving drugs, medications that people need, especially seniors. We have an aging population in the United States, so the demand for healthcare services, the demand for prescription medication, the demand for healthcare services in general will increase over time. President Trump said that he will always protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And I'm glad that President Trump also talked about home ownership. Home ownership. He wants to help people become homeowners. He wants to make it affordable for people to become homeowners. There are so many people, especially the younger generation, that's struggling. People in their 20s, in their 30s, even in their 40s, struggling to become homeowners. They cannot afford to buy a home, and it's because of what we saw. We saw high interest rates. We saw inflation. We saw the cost of maintaining a home, the cost of repairs. Everything went up. Everything went up during Joe Biden. And so things have become very challenging for a lot of people. They want to become homeowners. They want to pursue the dream of home ownership, the American dream, but they are falling behind. And so President Trump is taking action. He wants to lower the interest rates. He wants to have some good policies in the housing sector to make home ownership possible. And I truly applaud his efforts. And I know he's going to do a lot more going forward. President Trump said that his administration will fight crimes and combat fraud. Thank you so much to the administration in power right now, because yes, we want to ensure that taxpayer dollars are used properly. We want to ensure that taxpayer dollars are allocated properly. Crimes need to be eliminated. We cannot allow fraud to take place. taxpayer dollars must be spent wisely, and there must be program integrity when you're talking about government programs. And so I applaud President Trump and his administration's efforts to fight crimes and combat fraud. We want a fair and honest system, fair and honest government. And so crimes and fraud will have to be eliminated. We need whether you're talking about Medicaid, whether you're talking about unemployment insurance program, whatever, we need to have program integrity. Dollars that go into government programs must be spent on people who actually need the services. My friends, did you see the left-wing politicians trying to disrupt President Trump's amazing speech? Did you hear that during the speech? Did you hear that there were people trying to be, disruptive? There were people in that room who were trying to disrupt the State of the Union address. And then what happened? You remember the USA, USA, USA chant? The freedom-loving Americans chanting USA, USA, USA? Remember that? By the way, please go ahead and subscribe if you have not done so yet. I would appreciate that very, very much. Like this video, share this video. Gotta hit the like button. Thank you for doing that. Hit the like button. Support this channel, my friends. Thank you for being here. I see somebody saying hello, hello. And there are others who are watching this. Thank you for being here. President Trump highlighted the Save America Act. Americans agree that voters must show proof of citizenship to register to vote. It's common sense. We need that requirement nationally, proof of citizenship in order to vote. Everything that President Trump said during the speech, it's about common sense. By the way, if you support Trump, just write MAGA in the live chat. Just write MAGA, MAGA. Everything that Trump said during the speech, it's common sense. The Republicans believe in common sense. The freedom-loving Americans believe in common sense. And what the Democrats do, they believe in woke policies, woke stuff. We don't want woke. America has rejected woke. In case you didn't know, America rejected woke pretty strongly in November of 2024 when they voted for Donald J. Trump. America rejected woke. And America said it loud and clear that we support common sense in government and policy making. We believe in transparency. We believe in accountability. We want honest people in government. And so the American people voted for Donald Trump. And he assembled an amazing cabinet, a wonderful administration. The focus, my friends, the focus is on keeping Americans safe. The focus is on removing illegal aliens. The focus is on arresting criminals. And also the focus is on honoring those who have served our country and those who continue to serve our country. We support our veterans and we support our current military service members. Go ahead, my friends. Share your thoughts with me in the live chat. And also make sure that you're subscribing. I would appreciate that. And I was posting, like I said, I was posting on X. Like it was like a marathon. I was just posting my thoughts one after another. And so I wrote, we want low interest rates, make America great again. I wrote, yes, we are the hottest country in the world, as President Trump said. And I wrote, America's energy policy, drill baby drill, we need fossil fuels. Thank you, President Trump. And I wrote, in all caps, in block letters, I wrote, we are not tired of winning. We want to win more. Let's win, win, win. Thank you, President Trump. Hashtag SOTU 2026, meaning State of the Union 2026. And then I wrote, we are the champions. Our hockey team makes us proud. We defeated Canada. God bless America. Hashtag hockey, hashtag SOTU 2026. You can go and check out all my posts on X. And I wrote, awesome, in all caps, awesome State of the Union speech. I want to hear more. Thank you, President Trump. So this was during the speech. It was not at the end of the speech, even before President Trump ended the speech, even, as he was sort of maybe, let's say in the middle of the speech, I was saying, it's awesome. It's awesome so far. And I know it's going to be even better going forward. I mean, it was a long speech. And I was listening to each and every word, paying attention to each and every word. I actually had my, I don't have it right now. It's in the other room. My wireless Power Beats, and I was listening to it on the phone. It was playing on my phone. I was listening to it, and I listened to the whole thing. I listened to the whole thing from start to finish, and it's always special from that moment when you hear the voice, Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States, and then the door opens and President Trump walks in. And as he is walking, as he's moving forward, he's shaking hands, he's talking to people. People are excited. There's so much of enthusiasm and energy in the room. And the camera is capturing everything. You can see all the faces, people shaking hands with President Trump, taking selfie and all that. So amazing. And so I was excited. And during the speech, I posted, awesome State of the Union speech. I want to hear more. I want to hear more. Okay. One question that I posted on X, I wrote, do you want President Trump to talk about extraterrestrials and UFOs and UAPs during his State of the Union speech? I posted that because that's something that I was not sure about. I didn't know if President Trump would talk about like aliens, not illegal aliens, not aliens who enter the US by crossing the southern border and northern border, maritime border. No, we're not talking about the illegal aliens. We're talking about, extraterrestrials, aliens from other planets, outer space, other galaxies. And I posed that question on X. You can go check it out. And I wrote, do you want President Trump to talk about extraterrestrials and UFOs and UAPs during his State of the Union speech? And I wasn't sure if he was going to talk about it. He did not. He did not, which, raises more questions. Maybe Maybe there's going to be at some point an exclusive speech just focusing on extraterrestrials and UFOs and UAPs. Maybe it's not going to be something that we hear as part of a different speech, like where he's talking about the economy and public safety and the military, where he's talking about international trade, where he's talking about, healthcare policy, energy policy, and then also UFOs. No, that's not going to happen. I think anything to do with UFOs, extraterrestrials, it's going to be a separate speech just on those topics, just on that matter. Of course, if there's a question that comes up during a news conference where someone's asking about Russia, someone's asking about Ukraine and China and Taiwan and Canada and trade deals and so on and so forth, and if a question also comes up about UFOs, yeah, President Trump will answer that. But given the choice, given the control to decide when he's going to talk about it, I think it's not going to be lumped into another speech. It's going to be, when he talks about extraterrestrials, UFOs, UAPs, it'll be a speech just on UFOs, UAPs, and extraterrestrials. I could be wrong, but that's what I think is going to happen. Okay? Just because we did not hear about extraterrestrials yesterday doesn't mean we're not going to hear about it. Doesn't mean that he's not going to talk about aliens from outer space or alien life or existence of alien life or whatever we know or we don't know about alien life or UFOs. Doesn't mean he's not going to talk about it. He will when the time is right. When the time is right, my friends, I believe there's a time for everything. There's a time for everything. It's going to have to be the right moment. It's going to have to be the right point in this seemingly endless flow of time. Each and every second that passes, each and every hour, each and every day and week and month and year, in this flow of time, it has to be in that exact moment when we are going to hear about UFOs, aliens, UAPs. The truth will come out. I know there's anticipation. People are waiting. I know people who want to know more. What's beyond the Earth? What's beyond our solar system? How big is the universe? What do we know about what's out there? How much do we know? Do we know a lot? Do we know a little? We'll find out. We'll find out. My friends, President Trump honors those who serve our country. I mentioned that. Honors our veterans, our military service members. And it's important to focus on having a strong military. It's important to focus on military strength because you know what? Peace through strength. And I wrote yesterday on X, President Trump has made the US military stronger than ever before. The greatest president, Donald Trump, I wrote in another post. 8 wars. 8 wars. President Trump has ended 8 wars. It's not an easy task. Could any other president do this? I don't know. I'll let you answer. But for a US president to end 8 wars, it's truly amazing. He talked about the India-Pakistan conflict in particular, a conflict that could have resulted in millions of deaths. A conflict that could have caused widespread devastation. The India-Pakistan conflict. Both are, those two countries are neighbors, and the way the conflict was moving forward, it could have gone completely out of control. It could have resulted in the deaths of millions of people. But President Trump brought that conflict to an end. He stopped the war. And President Trump did mention the Pakistani Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, during his speech. And we're thankful that the India-Pakistan conflict did not result in a bigger war. It could have been World War III. It could have been World War III. If that conflict would have resulted in a full-scale war, then it would lead to the involvement of other countries, which then would result in a world war. But thankfully, that has ended. Anyway, peace through strength. Peace through strength, my friends. President Trump rebuilt the military during his first term and during his second term. So far, our commander-in-chief has made our military stronger than ever before. So we have to show our appreciation to our military service members. And President Trump did just that. Remember, he also authorized the warrior dividend of $1,776. You remember that, right? And also, I'm very happy that President Trump talked about the firefighters, the firemen, the firefighters. So we cannot forget the firefighters. Yes, we talk about the military service members and the veterans. We talk about the law enforcement officers. We talk about National Guard. We also must remember the firefighters. People who live in our communities. They are our neighbors. They'll respond. If there's an emergency, they'll respond. They respond, and they help keep us safe. Firefighters save lives. They put their own lives at risk to save others. They respond to crises. And there they are, always ready to respond. We depend on them. So, thanks to the firemen, thanks to the firefighters. It was very powerful, once again, I'll tell you, when President Trump honored those who served in the military. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to see the State of the Union speech. You have to check it out. The State of the Union speech. You can watch the replay, and I encourage you to do that. Watch the replay. By the way, I also posted on X during President Trump's speech, I posted, support ICE and support Border Patrol. Support ICE and Border Patrol. Thank you, President Trump. And I wrote, voters must show proof of citizenship. We need the Save America Act. And I wrote, President Trump ended 8 wars. Thank you, President Trump, the greatest president. And I wrote, President Trump's foreign policy will help bring peace across the world, which I know many people agree with me when I say that. We need peace through strength. We are proud of America's veterans. Thank you for your service. And I wrote, what a wonderful State of the Union address. And I wrote, make homeownership affordable. Thank you, President Trump, for all that you do for the American people. And I wrote, did you like the State of the Union address? I loved it. Let me know your thoughts. Please go ahead and Ask me questions at this time. If you have questions, I'm going to try to answer. Ask meaningful questions. Let's focus on the topic. Edwin is saying hi, Tausif. Hello, Edwin. Thank you for being here. Yes, Trump is the chairman of the Board of Peace. Absolutely. Because we need his leadership. He is the one who made the Board of Peace possible. And so, yes, he is the chairman of the Board of Peace. And the world is better off as a result of that. Absolutely. Lawrence is awesome. Thank you, Lawrence. All right. Wow, it's 7:15 a.m. already. Time flies. It's been over an hour since I started this live stream. Someone wrote, "No one cares what you wrote." Okay, well, you care enough that you are here watching my live stream, so thank you for that. It's always interesting when someone comes here, sits through my entire live stream, and says, "We don't care what you say." Well, you do care because you're watching the live stream, you're listening to me talk. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay, someone's asking about deportation. Listen, deportation is only for non-citizens. Okay, deportation only applies to non-citizens, and not for U.S. citizens. All right, U.S. citizens, those who follow the law, those who are honest people, those who came here legally, pursued citizenship, became citizens, and are living good, honest lives. They have nothing to worry about. They are Americans. They belong here in this country. And yes, we are a nation of immigrants. Immigrants have made this country strong. And we want to make sure that the immigrants, more people are able to come to this country legally. They have to come to this country, embrace this country, become Americans, contribute to make America greater than ever before. And yeah, those are the immigrants we need. Absolutely. We need legal immigrants, not illegal immigrants. Legal immigrants. That's what we want. That's what we need. Legal. It's a very simple keyword, legal. It's got to be legal. And I've been saying that for a long time, In fact, I have been highlighting the fact that, every year, 1 million people, give or take, 1 million, okay? For simplicity, let's call it 1 million. Sometimes it's a little more. It's usually a little more. 1 million people get their permanent residency to live and work in the United States every year. It has been like that for a long time. And hundreds of thousands of people become naturalized US citizens. So yes, we are welcoming new citizens. We are welcoming people and giving them. The United States is welcoming people, foreign nationals, and giving them the opportunity to live and work in the US. But it only applies to those who are honest, those who are following the law, those who are respecting the US Constitution, those who are here, to help make this country even better than before. Okay? But if anyone's here to absorb taxpayer dollars from the system, if they are here to, get taxpayer funded benefits and not make any contributions, if they are here to take advantage of our country, then, that we don't need those kinds of individuals here. Those who are just going to take advantage of the US and not make any contributions, not do anything to help make our society better, not do anything to, ensure growth and success of the US economy. If people are here to just take advantage of taxpayer-funded benefits, that's wrong. And so we want immigrants who will work hard, who will be productive individuals, who will embrace America, who will embrace the meaning of being an American. By the way, I also have to point out that during the State of the Union address, I told you I kept posting on X. So I also posted a picture from October 2024. I posted a picture of me standing on stage in front of a podium with my hand over my heart. And it says Waunakee, Wisconsin. It's a screenshot from a live TV program. And it's from a Trump event. It's from an event in which President Trump spoke. At the time, Donald Trump, candidate running, because this is right before the election of 2024. So I'm standing there, and I have two of my friends standing behind me. One of them is a pastor, and the other person is a wonderful singer. So the three of us were on stage. The pastor who led everyone in a prayer, the singer who sang the national anthem, and I was there leading everyone in the Pledge of Allegiance. So this was at a Trump event in Waunakee, Wisconsin. It was a historic visit, and let me just share with you one very important piece of information. Hold on a second. I'll share that with you. Stay here with me. So this was October 2024, right before the election, the month before the election. President Trump visited Dane County, Wisconsin. Dane County is where I live. I live in the city of Madison. Waunakee is a smaller community in Dane County, village of Waunakee, not far from Madison. It's all in the same county. And President Trump came to Waunakee, meaning he came to Dane County for a campaign visit. And I want to share this with you. It was for the first time since 1996 that a Republican presidential candidate visited Dane County for a campaign event. I mean, think about it. For the first time since 1996, that a Republican presidential candidate visited Dane County for a campaign event. And this was Donald Trump visiting Dane County, Wisconsin for a campaign event. The event held in Waunakee, and I had the great honor of leading everyone in the Pledge of Allegiance at that event. So I posted that picture yesterday. I was just so excited during the State of the Union address. I posted that picture on X, and I wrote, "What an amazing day it was when I had the honor of leading everyone in the Pledge of Allegiance at Donald Trump's campaign event in Dane County, Wisconsin. Hashtag SOTU 2026, State of the Union 2026. Hashtag State of the Union, hashtag Trump." So you can go on X, take a look at that picture. Let me know what you think. Brad is here. Hello, Brad. Good to see you. Good to see you, Brad. Thanks for being here. '83 people watching right now. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're here. Marjorie is here. Marjorie says, "Lucky you, Tassiv. That would be amazing." Thank you, Marjorie. Marjorie is our friend. Good to see you, Marjorie. Marjorie's from Canada. And Marjorie, we appreciate having you here in this community. Thanks for being here. All right. Okay, we got another person saying that he's Canadian also. Well, we got Canadian friends on this channel. Thank you for being here. We got a viewer from Ohio. Barry says Barry is from Ohio. Hello, Barry. Well, I was very happy about Ohio when Ohio voters chose Bernie Moreno for U.S. Senate. I was very happy when Ohio chose Bernie Moreno and rejected Sherrod Brown. By the way, Sherrod Brown is trying to make a political comeback. He spent so much time in Washington. I'm talking about Sherrod Brown, former U.S. Senator. He's trying to make a comeback. He wants to come back and be in Washington again as an office holder. And it's going to be important to see that race between Jon Husted and Sherrod Brown. I hope Sherrod Brown loses again. Bernie Moreno defeated Sherrod Brown once, and now I hope Jon Husted will defeat Sherrod Brown. Okay, only time will tell. We're going to have to wait and see. But you know, if you are watching from Ohio, please make sure that you're supporting your Republican candidates in Ohio. Wow, I feel like as time goes by, there are more and more comments coming in. I can't even complete reading. The comments just like moving very fast. There is a viewer named Greendale. Greendale, where are you from, Greendale? Are you from Greendale, Wisconsin? There's a Greendale, Wisconsin, in southeast Wisconsin. Are you from Greendale? Are you from some other place? Blaze says, hope you're having a good day. Yeah, I'm doing well, Blaze. Thank you so much. Greendale is from Michigan. All right. I thought it's I saw the name Greendale and I thought, wow, we got viewer from Greendale, Wisconsin watching. No, this is Greendale from Michigan. Is your name Greendale or are you from like Greendale Township? Are you from there looks like there's a Greendale Township. Where is it? In Midland County, Michigan. All right. I don't know where that is. Oh, it's not based off a locate. Oh, okay, got it. All right. I was thinking there's Greendale, Wisconsin. Lauren says, I loved Wisconsin. It's a beautiful, beautiful state. There's a variety. You go to northern Wisconsin, it's a different feeling. You go to southeast Wisconsin, it's more urban. You go to southwest Wisconsin, it's very rural, driftless area. If you like driftless area, you gotta check out southwest Wisconsin. You come to south central in the Madison, Janesville, Beloit area. It's different. Central Wisconsin is different. Yeah. So let's see, 7:31 a.m. I'm gonna wrap this up here real soon. Lawrence was 15 minutes from the. Lawrence, where do you live now? Are you in Stoddard? I can't remember. Are you in Stoddard? Or DeSoto? You're in DeSoto? Is that what you told me? Are you in DeSoto? Western Wisconsin? DeSoto, got it. Now Stoddard is right there too. Close to DeSoto, not far. Right? Love the Vernon Crawford County area. Love the Vernon Crawford County. I mean, go to Prairie du Chien. Beautiful. Go to Viroqua. Go to Westby. Okay? And then you know, if you're in Grant County, go to Boscobel. Beautiful place. If you're visiting Wisconsin, to all those folks who are not from Wisconsin, if you're visiting Wisconsin, go to southwest Wisconsin. Check out Grant County, Crawford, Vernon, La Crosse. Beautiful too. All right. Oh, someone likes my cufflinks. You like my cufflinks? Yeah, these are pretty cool. These are wraparound. Yeah. Matches my watch. Thank you. No, it's my cufflinks are not relevant to the discussion, but I always appreciate a compliment. So thank you so very much, Blaze. Appreciate it. Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah. It's got a green stone here. Blaze says nice. Thank you, Blaze. Thank you. Okay, there's a viewer who says you ain't having a discussion. You ain't having a discussion. That's the comment I get. You ain't having a discussion. All right, listen, I've been doing this live stream for an hour, 20 minutes. I've discussed a lot of different things. I've answered questions. I've responded to comments. Now I'm just wrapping up because, you know, a new day has started, and I got a lot of stuff to do. It's going to be a busy day for me. And so if you're saying whatever it is that you said, oh, you ain't having a discussion. I did have a discussion. It's not going to be an endless live stream. It's not going to be a 3 hour long live stream, which I have done in the past multiple times. I've done live streams that have been 3 hours longer or more. But not today, because it's going to be a busy day for me. And so I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you all being here. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. And stay connected to this channel. All right. Thank you so very much, my friends. Overall, I think it was a great and amazing State of the Union speech. I think after the speech, our country is now even more like the American people. Millions and millions of Americans are now more energized about the future of the United States of America. I think that we will continue to make America great again. This is the golden age of the US, and things are just going to get better, better, better. So thank you all so very much for tuning in. I appreciate you all being here. I'm going to end this live stream now, but I'm going to be back again very soon with more videos and more live streams. So please stay connected, subscribe, hit the like button, share the video, send your comments to me, and I'm going to be back again to talk to you very soon. Thank you, my friends. Have a wonderful day.